Welcome to Stoic In Your Life, where we blend ancient wisdom with modern insights. Today we delve into a topic that resonates deeply with our quest for genuine connections. Are you being used? 15 ways to recognize if someone is using you. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is a mutual one. This quote by Seneca sets the stage for our exploration today. In the intricate dance of human relationships, it's often challenging to discern the genuine from the deceptive. Much like trying to differentiate a mirage from an oasis in the vast desert of social interactions, our journey is to surround ourselves with those who elevate us, whose very presence ignites the best within us. In a world brimming with fleeting encounters and superficial connections, where masks of friendliness often conceal self-serving motives, the art of identifying true, caring individuals becomes essential, blending intuition with observant wisdom. If you're new to my channel, Stoic In Your Life, I invite you to join our community by subscribing and liking this video. Your support enables me to continue sharing insights and creating content that enriches our lives. Often we place unwavering faith in the apparent kindness of others, only to realize we're being exploited. Similar to a discerning gardener who knows which plants nourish and which deplete the soil, we must learn to distinguish between those who genuinely support us and those who act as emotional parasites. In this video, we're going to uncover subtle indicators and less obvious patterns that reveal the true intentions hidden behind smiles and hollow promises. You're here because you're committed to personal growth, and in this session, we'll explore the Stoic wisdom of unraveling these human puzzles, illuminating the path to more authentic and rewarding relationships. Let's embark on this enlightening journey together. Broken promises. In the intricate dance of human relationships, the act of making and breaking promises is akin to a theatrical performance, where words are the actors and actions, unfortunately, often become a neglected script. These individuals are akin to skilled artists in the realm of verbal persuasion, adept at painting alluring images of commitment and unwavering support. Yet beneath this facade, their words frequently lack the solidity of genuine action. They skillfully create expectations with the flourish of a seasoned painter. But when the moment arrives to transform these beautifully painted dreams into tangible reality, they falter, unveiling the hollowness of their assurances. In such dynamics, a discernible pattern often emerges. At critical junctures, when their support is most crucial, when the fulfillment of their promise is paramount, these individuals have a tendency to vanish, leaving behind a chasm brimming with disillusionment and disappointment. This absence in times of need transcends a mere breach of trust. It serves as a glaring testament to their true motivations. Their promises, rather than being bonds of trust, are revealed as mere tools of manipulation, crafted to extract value, trust, or support, with no genuine intention of reciprocation. This failure to uphold promises thus becomes a litmus test, distinguishing those who perceive relationships as a symbiotic journey of mutual respect and support from those who view them merely as conduits for their own self-serving ends. For the individuals left stranded, this ordeal often imparts a harsh yet invaluable lesson. Not all promises are anchored in the bedrock of honesty and integrity. Hence, the inability to fulfill promises is a pivotal behavior to scrutinize, comprehend, and use, as a means to identify those who may be inclined to exploit others. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "A gift consists not in what is done or given, but in the intention of the giver or doer." This wisdom resonates profoundly in the context of promises. It's not merely the promise itself, but the intention behind it that holds true value. In our modern lives, where words are often thrown around with ease, it's essential to discern the sincerity behind them. The advice here is to observe not just what is promised, but also the pattern of actions that follow. This discernment will serve as a shield, protecting us from those who might use us for their gain, and guiding us towards relationships that are truly rooted in mutual respect and genuine support. Lack of reciprocity. In our exploration of the Stoic perspective on relationships, we delve into a crucial aspect, the imbalance of reciprocity. Picture a seesaw, one side heavily laden with your efforts, sacrifices, and commitments, while the other side remains almost weightless, devoid of similar contributions. This metaphor aptly illustrates a relationship where reciprocity is absent. You find yourself pouring time, energy, and emotions into nurturing this bond, yet the return from the other side is minimal, sometimes merely symbolic or even non-existent. This imbalance can take various forms. Perhaps you're always the one initiating conversations and making plans, only to be met with tepid responses or non-committal attitudes. Your unwavering support and understanding might not be reciprocated with the same level of empathy or assistance when you're in need. In sharing personal experiences and skills, you might be open and candid, while the other person remains aloof or indifferent. The root of this one-sided dynamic often lies in a self-centered approach to relationships. For someone who sees the relationship merely as a convenience, it becomes a resource to exploit, devoid of any intention for a meaningful exchange. Their involvement is often calculated, driven by self-interest, and lacks consideration for the other person's needs and feelings. This approach starkly contrasts with the Stoic view of healthy relationships, which are built on mutual give and take, shared experiences, and balanced emotional investment. To recognize this lack of reciprocity, one must consciously observe the dynamics of the relationship. It involves questioning whether the efforts to maintain and grow the connection are shared or disproportionately borne by you. It calls for an honest evaluation. Does the relationship feel enriching or draining, balanced or skewed? To illustrate this further, let's consider the story of Cato the Younger, a renowned Stoic philosopher. Cato was known for his unwavering principles and his refusal to compromise them for personal gain. In his interactions, Cato always sought a balance of give and take. He would never allow himself to be used, nor would he use others for his own ends. His relationships were based on mutual respect and shared values, not on what he could gain from them. This story highlights the importance of maintaining a balance in our relationships and not allowing ourselves to be exploited. In conclusion, the lesson for our audience is clear. Assess your relationships through the lens of reciprocity and balance. If you find yourself in a situation where you are giving more than you are receiving, it might be time to reconsider the dynamics of that relationship. Remember, a healthy relationship should be enriching and balanced, not draining and one-sided. As Stoics, we strive for relationships that are based on mutual respect, shared values, and a fair exchange of emotional labor. By doing so, we not only honor our own dignity but also foster genuine connections that enrich our lives. Continued lack of respect. This insidious behavior is more than just occasional mistakes. It's a persistent pattern that erodes the very essence of mutual respect and understanding. Picture a garden where respect is the vital nourishment for growth. Without it, the garden becomes a desolate place, devoid of life and vibrancy. In relationships, respect is equally crucial. Its absence creates a barren emotional landscape, where every interaction is marred by contempt and indifference. This lack of respect can manifest in various forms, from subtle, consistent undercuts to overt dismissals of your feelings and boundaries. It's akin to a series of small yet painful cuts, or at times, a deep wound to your dignity. The person exhibiting this behavior, whether consciously or not, uses it as a tool to assert dominance and control, undermining the principles of equality and mutual respect that should underpin any healthy relationship. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, who, despite his immense power, treated others with respect and dignity. His reign was marked by fairness and a deep sense of moral responsibility. This historical example illustrates the importance of respect in any relationship, regardless of the power dynamics involved. In a relationship plagued by persistent disrespect, disagreements escalate into emotional battlefields, with little regard for the feelings of those involved. This disrupts the natural flow of communication and understanding, making it challenging to return to a state of normalcy and mutual respect. It's crucial to recognize this pattern, understanding that respect is woven into the fabric of daily interactions, small acknowledgments, and the way conflicts are resolved. In conclusion, a relationship characterized by ongoing disrespect is a clear sign of being viewed not as an equal partner, but as a means to an end. This imbalance is not only unhealthy but also detrimental to one's self-respect and dignity. Recognizing and addressing this issue is essential for anyone seeking a relationship grounded in mutual respect and equality. As Stoics, we understand the importance of respect and dignity in our interactions. By identifying and addressing these patterns of disrespect, we can steer our relationships towards healthier, more fulfilling paths, embodying the Stoic principles of respect and equality in our daily lives. Absence in critical moments. Imagine a tree that offers shade only when the sun is gentle but vanishes when storm clouds loom. This metaphor aptly describes certain individuals in our lives. In times of prosperity and ease, they are present, basking in the shared light and perhaps even benefiting from the relationship. However, when the tide turns, when challenges and the need for support arise, their presence dwindles, leaving you to weather the storm alone. These individuals view relationships as a matter of convenience, a tool for their own ends. Their involvement is dictated by personal gain. Their support, merely a veneer, extends only when it serves their interests or promises some reward. In moments of personal crisis, professional setbacks, or emotional upheaval, their absence is strikingly evident. It is precisely in these times when genuine empathy and support are most needed that their true priorities and lack of commitment to the relationship come to light. The repercussions of such behavior on the one left feeling abandoned are significant. It breeds a sense of betrayal and disillusionment, eroding the trust and dependability once believed to be the foundation of the relationship. Doubts about the nature of the bond emerge, often prompting a reassessment of the individual's role and significance in one's life. Recognizing this pattern is crucial in understanding the true nature of the relationship and the other person's intentions. It involves accepting that consistent support, in both joyous and challenging times, is vital to any meaningful connection. Realizing that someone is absent during your pivotal moments acts as a crucial litmus test, helping to differentiate between those truly invested in your well-being and those who are in the relationship solely for their own advantage. As we reach the halfway point of this video, I commend you for your commitment to self-improvement. I also humbly request that you leave a comment, as it greatly supports my channel. If you're unsure what to comment, simply write, "I am Stoic," to indicate you've come this far, and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content. In the words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. This sentiment echoes in our discussion, reminding us that the presence of genuine companions in our lives is not just a convenience but a cornerstone of true happiness. Their absence, especially in critical moments, is not merely a personal loss but a revelation of their priorities. In our modern lives filled with fleeting connections and superficial interactions, this lesson is particularly poignant. It urges us to seek and cherish those who stand by us not only in our moments of triumph but also in our times of need. It encourages us to cultivate relationships that are not just fair-weather friendships, but bonds that withstand the tests of adversity. As you navigate through life's ups and downs, remember to evaluate the relationships you cherish through the lens of both joy and hardship. This perspective will not only provide clarity about who truly values you, but will also guide you in offering the same unwavering support to others. In doing so, you embody the Stoic ideal of resilience and mutual respect, essential for a fulfilling and Stoic life. Emotional manipulation. In the intricate dance of human relationships, emotional manipulation emerges as a subtle yet potent force, often beginning under the guise of attentiveness and care. This deceptive approach, reminiscent of a chameleon changing its colors, swiftly morphs into a tool for inducing anxiety, inadequacy, or guilt. The manipulator, akin to a puppeteer, learns to deftly pull at the emotional strings of their target, offering praise to elevate them when convenient, then sharply pivoting to criticism or belittlement, sowing seeds of doubt and dependency. Consider, if you will, the metaphor of a gardener tending to a delicate plant. A conscientious gardener nurtures with a balanced hand, providing the right measure of water and sunlight. In stark contrast, the emotional manipulator resembles a negligent gardener who vacillates between overwatering and neglect, causing the plant to either drown in excess or wither in neglect. This erratic care mirrors the manipulator's use of emotional extremes to destabilize their target, creating a climate where the latter becomes increasingly reliant on the manipulator's fluctuating approval, yearning to recapture the initial sense of warmth and attention. This form of manipulation often strikes at the very heart of one's emotional well-being. The manipulator may trivialize your accomplishments or exaggerate your failures, ensnaring you in a relentless cycle of self-doubt. They skillfully twist situations, instilling guilt for actions that are otherwise normal, and deftly shift blame, ensuring that you are perpetually apologizing and off balance. In such relationships, the balance of power is invariably skewed. The manipulator wields control, capriciously dispensing or withholding affection, thus keeping their target tethered in a state of emotional subservience. This dynamic is not about mutual growth or support, but rather about satisfying the manipulator's needs at the expense of the other's emotional health. Identifying emotional manipulation demands acute awareness and understanding of these dynamics. It involves recognizing patterns where emotions are consistently exploited and necessitates introspection to comprehend how these interactions impact one's sense of self and emotional well-being. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In the context of emotional manipulation, this wisdom underscores the importance of listening and observing the patterns in our interactions, empowering us to discern and address manipulation. In our modern lives, where relationships form the cornerstone of our social existence, understanding and guarding against emotional manipulation is crucial. It requires not only a keen awareness of others' actions, but also a deep understanding of our own vulnerabilities and strengths. The journey to recognizing and countering emotional manipulation is a path towards emotional autonomy and resilience, aligning with the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control, our responses, perceptions, and actions. By cultivating this awareness and strength, we can navigate our relationships with wisdom and balance, ensuring that our emotional well-being is not compromised by the whims of another. Unilateral benefit. This phenomenon manifests in various aspects of a relationship, be it financial, emotional, or practical, and resembles a parasitic relationship found in nature. Just as a parasite thrives at the expense of its host, a person who engages in unilateral benefit seeks to gain, whether it's emotional support, financial aid, or practical help, without offering an equivalent return. Financially, this might look like someone who borrows money or resources, promising repayment or reciprocity. But these promises never come to fruition. Emotionally, it can be seen in individuals who lean heavily on others for support, validation, and attention, yet offer little to nothing in return. Practically, it's evident when someone constantly asks for favors, help, or time, but is conspicuously absent or too busy when it's their turn to provide assistance. This lack of reciprocity can be draining for the giver, depleting their emotional, financial, or temporal resources, leaving them feeling unfulfilled and exhausted. The root of unilateral benefit often lies in deep-seated selfishness and a lack of empathy. Those who engage in this behavior view relationships through a transactional lens, focusing on what they can extract rather than what they can contribute. This approach is fundamentally flawed as it disregards the essence of mutual respect, support, and the balance of give and take in healthy relationships. To identify this pattern, one must cultivate a discerning eye, recognizing the persistent absence of reciprocity and the sensation of consistently being shortchanged. It involves an honest evaluation of whether interactions leave you feeling valued and respected, or used and underestimated. Let's consider a story from ancient Stoicism that illuminates this issue. Imagine a gardener who nurtures a tree, providing it with water, nutrients, and care. In a healthy relationship, the tree would grow and offer shade, fruit, or beauty in return. However, in a scenario of unilateral benefit, the tree takes all the nourishment but offers nothing back, leaving the gardener with nothing but the effort expended. This allegory reflects the essence of unilateral benefit in human relationships. In conclusion, the lesson for the audience is to be mindful of the balance in relationships. It's crucial to assess whether there is a fair exchange of support, respect, and value. If you find yourself in a situation of unilateral benefit, consider addressing the imbalance with the other party or reevaluating the relationship's place in your life. Stoicism teaches us the importance of mutual respect and the dangers of relationships that are one-sided. By applying these principles, we can strive for healthier, more fulfilling connections with those around us. Constant competition. Picture yourself in a chess game, where every move is not just about advancing your position but also about systematically weakening your opponent. This metaphor aptly describes how some individuals treat relationships as a strategic battleground, where their sole aim is to outdo you, overshadowing your achievements and decisions to assert their dominance. This relentless competition manifests in various settings. In the workplace, such a person might try to steal the spotlight during meetings or claim your ideas as their own. In personal relationships, they often diminish your experiences or accomplishments by comparing them to their own, striving to appear more accomplished or relevant. Even in casual conversations, there's an underlying effort to prove they are better, smarter, or more successful than you. The root of this behavior stems from deep-seated insecurity and a skewed sense of self-worth. They measure their value not by their own merits but by being superior to others. This perspective transforms every interaction into a zero-sum game, where their victory means your loss. It's a mindset where the concept of mutual growth is overshadowed by an overwhelming desire to outshine and stand out. Engaging with someone who embodies constant competition can be emotionally draining. It fosters an environment of endless tension, replacing genuine collaboration and support with rivalry. In this dynamic, your achievements aren't celebrated, but seen as threats to their supremacy, and your challenges aren't met with empathy, but are viewed as opportunities for them to gain an upper hand. Recognizing and understanding this pattern is essential. It allows you to set boundaries and, if possible, steer the relationship towards a more constructive and collaborative dynamic. It's about realizing that the core of any meaningful relationship is mutual respect and support, not an incessant race for superiority. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In the context of our discussion, this quote reminds us to be observant and listen closely to the dynamics of our relationships. Are we being heard and valued, or are we constantly being overshadowed and undermined? In conclusion, if you find yourself in a relationship characterized by constant competition, it's crucial to reflect on its impact on your well-being. Remember, a relationship should be a source of support and growth, not a battleground for superiority. As Stoics, we strive for tranquility and wisdom, recognizing that true strength comes from inner peace and mutual respect, not from outdoing others. Let's embrace this philosophy in our interactions, fostering relationships that uplift rather than diminish. And in doing so, we not only enrich our lives but also honor the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Diminishing comments. You're in a relationship, be it personal or professional, and there's this person who, under the guise of humor or casual conversation, consistently undermines your achievements, mocks your dreams, or shows a blatant disregard for your struggles. This isn't just harmless banter. It's a form of psychological warfare, a calculated tactic to erode your self-esteem and confidence, leaving you doubting your worth and abilities. Why do they do this? It's simple yet complex. By belittling you, they aim to keep you in a state of self-doubt, easier to manipulate and control. This behavior often stems from their own insecurities and inadequacies. By putting you down, they create an illusion of superiority, masking their vulnerabilities. It's a twisted way of elevating themselves at your expense. But here's the catch. This isn't just about them. It's about you recognizing these patterns. It's about seeing beyond their superficial charm and understanding the toxic dynamics at play. This recognition is your power. It's your signal to either address this behavior head-on, set firm boundaries, or, if necessary, distance yourself from such negativity. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In this context, it means listening not just to what is being said, but how it's being said and what it truly represents. It's about understanding the intention behind the words and actions of others and how they impact your mental and emotional well-being. Remember, your self-worth is not a currency for others to devalue. It's a treasure that you must guard with wisdom and strength. In the face of diminishing comments, equip yourself with the Stoic principles of self-awareness, resilience, and the courage to stand up for your worth. By doing so, you not only protect your peace but also set a precedent for how you deserve to be treated. In the grand tapestry of life, let these experiences be the threads that strengthen your resolve, not the ones that unravel your spirit. In conclusion, be vigilant of those who use diminishing comments as a tool to undermine you. Recognize the signs, understand the motives, and take decisive action. Your journey towards Stoic wisdom is not just about enduring hardships, but also about recognizing and overcoming the subtle manipulations that life throws your way. Remember, in the words of Marcus Aurelius, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." Be better, rise above, and in doing so, you become not just a survivor, but a beacon of strength and resilience. Lack of genuine support. Picture a tree in a lush forest, thriving amidst the nurturing embrace of its environment. Contrast this with a solitary tree in a barren landscape, devoid of support and companionship. This imagery serves as a poignant allegory for relationships lacking in sincere interest and support. When you're in a relationship where your well-being is overlooked, it's akin to being that lone tree. Your endeavors and aspirations are met with indifference or superficial encouragement. Such a person might not openly discourage you, but their actions, or the absence thereof, reveal a lack of real support. They may offer lukewarm wishes or verbal affirmations, yet when it comes to practical help, insightful advice, or a listening ear during hardships, their presence is notably lacking. This absence of genuine support often stems from a self-centered mindset. In these relationships, your achievements, struggles, and interests are only relevant to the extent that they impact the other person's goals. They view interactions through a transactional lens, weighing emotional involvement against personal gain. This approach breeds an imbalance, with one party consistently giving, be it effort, care, or resources, while the other predominantly takes. Recognizing such patterns is vital for your emotional health and for cultivating relationships grounded in mutual respect and reciprocity. It helps you steer clear of deceptive behaviors and form connections that enrich your life. Concluding this exploration, we understand that discerning false relationships is a crucial skill in the intricate web of human interactions. It demands a blend of intuition, self-awareness, and the ability to notice subtle behavioral cues. By being aware of signs like diminishing remarks, unkept promises, one-sided benefits, emotional neglect, and manipulation, you can more adeptly navigate the realm of relationships. This knowledge empowers you to foster bonds that are genuine, supportive, and enriching, thereby enhancing your overall well-being. As you journey through the complexities of human dynamics, remember that true relationships are founded on trust, respect, and a shared dedication to growth and well-being. In the spirit of Stoicism, this understanding not only guides you in forming healthier relationships, but also in nurturing a resilient and serene spirit, harmonious with the Stoic path. Betrayal. In our journey through life, we often encounter situations that test our resilience and challenge our understanding of trust and loyalty. One such situation is betrayal in relationships, a theme that resonates deeply with the teachings of Stoicism. Imagine betrayal as a small crack in the foundation of a building. Initially, it might seem insignificant, but over time, this crack can grow, weakening the entire structure, eventually leading to its collapse. This allegory mirrors how betrayal, starting as small lies or deceit, can escalate and cause profound damage in relationships. When we talk about betrayal, it's not just about the overt acts of dishonesty. It's also about the subtle signs that we often overlook. A clear indicator of betrayal is a lack of transparency and honesty in communication. If you find yourself constantly uncovering lies or realizing that information is being withheld from you, it's a glaring red flag. Remember, trust, which is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, is built on the unwavering foundation of honesty. Once this foundation is shaken by betrayal, the entire structure of trust starts to crumble. Betrayal, however, isn't limited to just dishonesty. It also manifests in the form of emotional disloyalty. Consider this. If your partner isn't there to support you during challenging times, if they carelessly reveal your secrets, or if they actively undermine your efforts, it's a clear indication of a lack of emotional commitment. This emotional betrayal can be as damaging as, if not more than, physical infidelity. In romantic relationships, such betrayals can leave deep scars, affecting your ability to trust and connect with others in the future. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This wisdom encourages us to live in the moment and cherish the genuine connections we have, without the fear of betrayal clouding our judgment. However, it also reminds us to be vigilant and mindful of the signs that may indicate a breach of trust. In addressing betrayal, it's crucial to approach it with a balanced perspective. While it's important to be aware of these signs, it's equally important not to jump to conclusions without substantial evidence. Communication is key in resolving doubts and misunderstandings. If you find yourself in a situation where betrayal seems evident, it's essential to confront the issue with calmness and clarity, traits highly valued in Stoicism. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us the importance of focusing on what we can control. In the face of betrayal, it's easy to feel victimized and helpless. However, remember that while you cannot control the actions of others, you can control your reaction to them. Use this as an opportunity to strengthen your character, to practice forgiveness, and to learn from the experience. In conclusion, betrayal in relationships is a complex issue that requires careful navigation. By being aware of the signs, communicating effectively, and applying the principles of Stoicism, we can handle such situations with wisdom and resilience. As Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic philosopher, wisely stated, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In facing betrayal, let us strive not for revenge but for understanding, growth, and inner peace. This discernment is a crucial aspect of maintaining healthy relationships, a concept deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. Stoicism teaches us to be observant, to trust our intuition, and to approach life with a sense of clarity and purpose. As we delve into this topic, I'll guide you through the signs of being used, how to address them, and the importance of setting boundaries, all while weaving in the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Firstly, it's essential to recognize the warning signs of betrayal or misuse in relationships. Stoicism advises us to be attentive and mindful of our interactions. If you notice inconsistencies in someone's behavior, or a sudden shift in how they treat you, it's a signal to pause and reflect. As Marcus Aurelius, a renowned Stoic philosopher, once said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This quote reminds us to look beyond the surface and trust our intuition when something feels amiss. Addressing betrayal or misuse requires open and honest communication. It's about confronting the situation with empathy and a genuine desire to understand the underlying reasons. However, it's equally important to establish clear boundaries. As Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, wisely stated, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This means that sometimes our fear of confrontation can be more daunting than the act itself. By facing these challenges head-on, we protect our emotional well-being and preserve our dignity. Understanding and identifying these behavior patterns is vital for nurturing healthy and meaningful connections. It demands self-awareness, honesty, and the courage to face the reality of the situation. If you recognize these patterns in your relationships, remember you are not alone. Many have walked this path and emerged stronger and wiser. Taking steps to address these issues, though challenging, is crucial for your long-term well-being. This might involve setting clear boundaries, seeking professional guidance, or making difficult decisions. Prioritizing your emotional health is always a valuable endeavor. As Epictetus, another Stoic sage, advised, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This encourages us to listen to our inner voice and the wisdom of those who have faced similar challenges. Remember, you deserve relationships that support, nurture, and help you grow. As you navigate through these situations, let the principles of Stoicism guide you. Embrace the serenity to accept the things you cannot change, the courage to change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. In doing so, you'll find that you're not just surviving these challenges, but thriving through them, embodying the resilient spirit of a true Stoic. In conclusion, the journey of recognizing and addressing the signs of being used in relationships is a testament to your strength and resilience. It's about balancing empathy with self-respect, understanding with boundary setting, and intuition with action. As you walk this path, let the timeless wisdom of Stoicism illuminate your way, helping you to build relationships that are not only healthy, but also enriching and fulfilling. Disregard for your emotions or needs. Imagine a garden where only one flower is allowed to flourish while the rest wither in neglect. This metaphor aptly describes a situation where someone's needs and desires overshadow yours, leaving you feeling undervalued and invisible. This kind of emotional neglect can take various forms. It might be as blatant as them consistently overlooking your need for support during vulnerable times, or as subtle as their indifference to your opinions and choices. Your voice gets drowned out by their dominant narrative. They might even go as far as to belittle your achievements or trivialize your struggles, effectively minimizing the issues that deeply affect you. This behavior isn't just insensitivity. It's a calculated form of neglect, a strategy to maintain dominance in the relationship. By undermining your feelings and needs, they create an environment where your self-esteem is eroded, making you more susceptible to their control. It's a subtle form of emotional manipulation, but its impact is profound. This dynamic strikes at the heart of emotional well-being, the fundamental need to be heard, understood, and valued. When these needs are consistently ignored, it can lead to diminished self-esteem and a sense of isolation, even in what appears to be an active relationship. To navigate these treacherous waters, it's vital to recognize the signs of emotional neglect. Awareness is your beacon, guiding you away from toxic relationships and towards connections where reciprocity, respect, and mutual care are the cornerstones. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In relationships, this balance is essential. A partner who truly values you will listen and give weight to your emotions and needs, fostering a relationship where both parties can bloom like flowers in a well-tended garden. In conclusion, remember that recognizing these patterns is the first step towards change. By identifying and understanding the signs of emotional neglect, you empower yourself to seek healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Remember, in the words of Marcus Aurelius, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. By choosing to not replicate these behaviors and seeking relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, you honor your own worth and contribute to a more virtuous cycle of interpersonal dynamics, making you feel guilty. In our exploration of Stoicism and its application to modern life, we delve into a subtle yet pervasive issue, the manipulation of our good nature through guilt. Picture this. Guilt, acting as puppeteers' strings, subtly guiding our actions in directions we might not naturally choose. This is a tactic skillfully employed by those who use others, leveraging our innate desires to be responsible, empathetic, and fair. They might present requests in such a manner that to refuse them would paint us as insensitive or selfish, or they might subtly remind us of past favors, insinuating a debt that we're now obliged to repay. This method of inducing guilt is often gradual and cunning. It begins with minor favors and slowly escalates to more significant demands. As this happens, our personal boundaries start to erode, and our capacity to refuse weakens, trapping us in a cycle of guilt and compliance. In this process, the needs and desires of the manipulator become the focus while our own are sidelined or ignored. The effectiveness of this tactic lies in its exploitation of a core aspect of human nature, our desire to be seen as good, helpful, and compassionate. By making us feel guilty, the manipulator twists these virtues into tools of control. We find ourselves acting not out of genuine desire or mutual respect, but from a sense of imposed obligation, often accompanied by feelings of resentment or exhaustion. Recognizing when someone is using guilt to manipulate us is vital for maintaining our personal boundaries and emotional health. It requires awareness of the emotional dynamics in our interactions, differentiating between sincere requests for help and attempts to exploit our kindness. It also demands the courage to question the motivations behind these requests and to assert our right to refuse without feeling guilty. Addressing this manipulative tactic is crucial for nurturing healthy relationships founded on mutual respect, genuine care, and free choice, rather than obligation and guilt. To illustrate this, let's consider the story of Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who was once a slave. Despite his circumstances, Epictetus maintained a strong sense of self and personal boundaries. He understood that while he could not control his external circumstances, he could control his reactions and maintain his integrity. When faced with demands from his master, Epictetus would assess whether these demands compromised his values and personal boundaries. His philosophy teaches us the importance of discerning when to acquiesce and when to stand firm, even in the face of manipulation or guilt-tripping. In conclusion, the lesson for our audience is to cultivate self-awareness and resilience in the face of manipulation. By understanding and practicing Stoic principles, we can recognize when we are being unfairly used and take steps to protect our emotional well-being and personal boundaries. This not only improves our lives, but also sets a foundation for healthier, more respectful relationships. Remember, it is not selfish to respect your boundaries. It is an act of self-care and wisdom. Lack of personal interest. Picture a conversation as a bustling street, where thoughts, experiences, and emotions flow like traffic in a vibrant exchange. In a nourishing relationship, this street buzzes with a two-way traffic of mutual interest and care. But when you're dealing with someone who's using you, this street morphs into a one-way path. Their stories and experiences dominate, turning your attempts to share into a series of detours and dead ends. This one-sidedness shows up in many forms. Conversations feel like monologues masquerading as dialogues. These individuals dive into their daily lives expecting your undivided attention and empathy, yet when it's your turn, their interest fades. They might offer a brief nod, swiftly change the subject, or display clear disinterest. Your problems and achievements, no matter their weight, seem to barely flicker on their radar of concern. This isn't just poor social skills. It's a calculated move. They're setting the stage where their life, opinions, and needs are the main act, and you're relegated to the audience. It's a subtle form of egocentrism, where the relationship orbits around them, reducing you to a mere spectator or an echo chamber for their thoughts. The toll of such interactions is deep. It breeds feelings of insignificance and frustration as your basic human need for recognition and understanding is ignored. Over time, this imbalance can corrode the very foundation of the relationship, leaving you feeling like an accessory rather than an equal partner. It's vital to recognize this lack of personal interest. It means being alert to the dynamics of your interactions and the emotional toll of these lopsided conversations. Assessing whether the relationship is mutually enriching or draining is key to seeking more balanced and fulfilling connections where your stories and experiences are held in the same regard as theirs. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In a true partnership, both parties should listen and be heard equally. If you find yourself in a situation where your voice is consistently drowned out, it might be time to reevaluate the relationship. Seek out those who value your words and experiences as much as you value theirs, creating a harmonious balance of give and take. Remember, in the journey of life, every individual deserves to be heard and acknowledged, and it's through this mutual exchange that the richest relationships are formed. Unilateral conversations. Picture this. Conversations are akin to a bustling street where thoughts, experiences, and emotions flow freely in both directions. In a flourishing relationship, this street buzzes with the vibrant exchange of mutual interest and care. However, when you're entangled with someone who's intent on using you, this street morphs into a one-way thoroughfare. Their narratives and experiences dominate the conversation, and any attempt to redirect the dialogue towards your life hits roadblocks or vanishes into thin air. This glaring absence of personal interest manifests in several ways. Engaging with such individuals often feels like enduring monologues masquerading as dialogues. They plunge into the minutiae of their daily lives' challenges and victories, demanding your undivided attention and empathy. Yet when it's your turn to share, their interest evaporates. Responses are curt, subjects are swiftly changed, or they exhibit overt disinterest or impatience. Your problems and experiences, no matter their gravity, seem to barely flicker on their radar of concern. This isn't merely a failure in social grace or conversational skills. It's a calculated expression of their priorities and intentions. By monopolizing the conversation and neglecting your stories, they create a dynamic where their needs, opinions, and life overshadow everything else. It's a subtle yet insidious form of egocentrism, where the relationship orbits around their needs, relegating you to the role of an observer or a sounding board for their ideas. The repercussions of such interactions are deeply disheartening. They can spawn feelings of insignificance and frustration, as your innate human need for recognition and understanding is left unmet. Over time, this one-sidedness can corrode the very foundation of the relationship, reducing your role to that of a mere accessory in their life rather than an equal partner. In the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This quote underscores the importance of balance in communication, a principle often violated in unilateral conversations. In our modern lives, where genuine connections are increasingly rare, recognizing and addressing such imbalances is crucial. It's essential to foster relationships where both parties are heard and valued equally, ensuring a healthy reciprocal exchange of thoughts and emotions. Remember, a conversation should be a two-way street, not a solitary path. In navigating the complex terrain of human relationships, it is essential to discern the nature of the connections we forge. Often, we find ourselves in relationships that mimic the depth and intimacy of genuine bonds, yet upon closer examination, reveal a starkly different reality. This phenomenon, where one appears to be engaged and invested, but in reality is far from it, is a subtle art of emotional deception. Consider a scenario where frequent communication, shared laughter, and seemingly intimate conversations are the norm. This veneer of closeness, however, fails to evolve into anything of true substance. The essence of genuine commitment is conspicuously absent, manifesting in various telltale signs. You might observe that while they readily reap the benefits of the relationship, their enthusiasm wanes when it demands effort or sacrifice on their part. In times of need, their support is as unstable as a house of cards, present in moments of joy yet conspicuously absent when the tides turn to struggle or vulnerability. This superficial closeness is often devoid of the fundamental elements that underpin authentic relationships: trust and reliability. Plans are whimsically made and just as easily discarded, while promises hang in the air, unfulfilled. Their involvement is dictated by convenience and self-interest, a tactical approach to maintain a network of contacts for utilitarian purposes without the emotional labor true relationships necessitate. It's a calculated strategy to keep people within arm's reach, close enough to be of use, yet distant enough to eschew reciprocal commitment. In the words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca, true friendship is never serene. This highlights the essence of genuine relationships, which are not always smooth, but are marked by mutual effort and emotional investment. The superficial closeness we often encounter is a means to emotionally safeguard oneself, reaping the benefits of proximity without the risks of genuine attachment or responsibility. Recognizing this facade is pivotal in understanding the dynamics at play. It involves scrutinizing interaction patterns and assessing whether the perceived intimacy is mirrored by actions of true commitment and shared vulnerability. It's about discerning whether the relationship is a balanced scale of emotional investment or skewed to serve their needs. Such relationships are characterized by a facade of intimacy, lacking the bedrock of genuine commitment and mutual growth. Identifying this pattern is a step towards seeking and nurturing relationships grounded in authenticity, reciprocity, and true emotional depth. In our modern lives, where connections can be as fleeting as they are numerous, this discernment becomes even more crucial. The advice here is to be vigilant and introspective, to question the depth and sincerity of our relationships. It's about building connections that are not just superficially gratifying, but are enriching and genuine at their core. In doing so, we align ourselves with the Stoic ideal of living a life of purpose, authenticity, and mutual respect. Selective availability. Imagine a scenario where you are always on standby, ready to lend an ear, offer support, or extend a helping hand. Your emotional resources and time are perpetually available to someone. However, their availability to you is as sporadic and unpredictable as a comet streaking across the night sky. This situation, which I term selective availability, is a vivid portrayal of a one-sided relationship. It's akin to a telephone line where only one party is consistently reachable. In such dynamics, the discrepancy in availability isn't a mere coincidence of busy schedules or clashing priorities. It's a calculated choice, a tactical posture. The other person is exploiting the relationship. Their sporadic presence serves a twofold purpose. It keeps a convenient distance and places them in a position of control. By rationing their availability, they create a dynamic where you're left yearning for more, often feeling thankful for any morsel of time or attention they choose to bestow. This pattern of interaction often results in your attempts to connect being met with excuses, delays, or outright neglect. Messages may remain unanswered, calls unreturned, and your needs unacknowledged. When they do engage, it typically aligns with their needs or agenda, transforming the relationship into a one-way street. Your role becomes more about convenience than being a valued partner. The emotional toll of this pattern is substantial. It breeds feelings of inadequacy as you start to doubt the value of your contributions and your worth in their eyes. It generates a backdrop of frustration and resentment as you recognize the lack of reciprocation for your efforts and availability. As we conclude this insightful journey through the 15 ways to recognize if someone is using you, it's essential to reflect on the profound impact these insights can have on our lives. Understanding these patterns not only empowers us to navigate our relationships with greater wisdom, but also reinforces our commitment to self-respect and mutual respect in our interactions. Remember, the essence of Stoicism teaches us to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, to practice discernment, and to cultivate relationships that enrich our lives. In the spirit of this philosophy, I encourage you to apply these lessons in your daily interactions, fostering connections that are genuine, supportive, and reciprocal. If this video resonated with you, if it sparked a moment of realization, or if it simply offered you a new perspective, I invite you to engage with our community. Like this video to support our mission, share it with those who might find value in these teachings, and subscribe to Stoic In Your Life for more content that bridges ancient wisdom with the modern hustle. Don't forget to turn on notifications, ensuring you never miss our upcoming videos, where we continue to explore the depths of Stoicism and its practical applications in our contemporary lives. Together, let's journey towards a life of greater awareness, resilience, and harmony. Thank you for being part of this community, for your support, and for choosing to walk the path of Stoic wisdom. Until our next video, remember, in the ebb and flow of life, it's not what happens to us, but how we respond that truly defines our journey. Stay stoic, stay strong.